Hi there, it's the Resourceful Coach, and what we're going to talk about today is if you had a lesson with me on the golf course, how we will use data to improve your game and improve your mind when you play. For me, golf is all about taking the pressure off the golfer and getting to realize what you need to achieve. So what we're going to go through is if you had a playing lesson with me, the data that we can compile to show you where your strengths and weaknesses are. And I look at 4 areas of the game to see how we can improve it. Your tee shots on par 4s and par 5s, the second shot, which is any shot outside 100 yards, any shot inside 100 yards, and your putting. And what we'll look to do is, what I've developed over the years, having done so many playing lessons, is data where I can show you anywhere on the golf course, for your level of play, your handicap, on average, how many shots it should take you to get into the hole. So that's what we're going to look at today. What I do in a playing lesson is what I've learned is it's your time. So if I go out with you, I don't play. I go out and basically I'm going to make data. I'm going to show you as we go through this lesson. I'll take data of what you're doing and show you as we go around how we can improve that for your level and understand that. So where does it start? Well, the start is always on the tee. And every hole that we play, you have what we call a baseline number. You have a number that says, on average, for your handicap, this is how many shots it will take you to get into the hole. And what's important to understand, that may not always be a whole number. So what I mean, it might not be that you're meant to make a 5 on that hole. If you're something like a 9 handicap golfer, a lot of the time you're probably going to par half the holes, you're going to bogey half. But a lot of them might be an average, let's say it's a par 4, you may have a situation where physically, for you on average, it's a 4.5 hole, which means you're going to par it half the time, you're going to bogey it half the time. But the whole idea of this is to find out, as I said, 2 things. Find your strengths and weaknesses in your physical game, but then also get you into the mental side of the game to understand that if you play a good shot and it's within the boundary of my data, then mentally you should be happy with that. If it's better than average, really happy. If it's a little bit below average, still okay. And obviously if it's not your best shot, maybe that will worsen your score when you play, how we can then understand as you go through the likelihood of keeping your mind in the right place. And that's the big thing for me. If your mind is in the right place, it makes it so much easier to go through. So what I'm going to do now is show you what would happen in a lesson. I'm going to play this hole. We'll show you different positions that we might end up in. If we do end up in those positions, we will take data, and from that position then we can get a good understanding of what to do. Okay, so let's hit a tee shot and let's see where we're going. So as I said, in the game, on the par 4s and 5s, we will give you a readout throughout the round, and that may be 14 different shots on average, how well you've done. At the end of the round, you'll get a number. Hopefully it'll be 0. If that number's 0, that means you're playing to your handicap. If it's a plus number, that means we've done better than normal. If it's a negative number, it means we've done worse than normal. And if we do a series of lessons doing this, and we get 5 or 6 lessons together, then all of a sudden we can see if there's a consistency in one area or 2 areas that might need improving, but you might find areas that are very good. Okay, let's go find where that's ended. Show you the different positions we could have ended up in and how we would take data from those positions so you understand how it will help you and make sure then the importance of getting that ball in the fairway and how that's going to help you get the results we want. So I've arrived at where my tee shot ended up. It's a baseline number where for me as a scratch golfer, it's a par 5. It's 540 yards, it's a good shot. I've hit the drive around about 240 because it's quite a cold November day, hasn't gone too far. So that's lost me about 0.1 of a shot, but I still should on average still make my 5. I've gone from a 5 off the tee because I've hit the fairway and I haven't hit it quite as far as I'd like to because of the conditions. It's now going to become 4.1 shots from here. So now on average, I'm going to take 5.1. So still a 90% chance I'm going to par it. So it's pretty much a par tee shot. That's what I should achieve for my level. What I need to do now, can I move it down the fairway and keep it moving up there so I've got a chance to get it onto the green with my next shot. Par 5 here goes down, then a sharp dog leg round to the right. kept the ball nicely on the fairway, so I should be about, again, on par to do what I'm meant to do, get my 5. But let's see, look, 2 other shots. If I'd hit the ball into trouble off the tee, how much would it have cost me? So here's a different result we could have got. We've only just missed the fairway, but you can see from the lie it's not great, we're in the rough. And by just missing the fairway, we're still the same distance from the hole. That's going to cost me about 0.3 of a shot. So remember, on the tee it was a 5, from the fairway 4.1, this is now going to take me 4.4. Still slightly in my favour that I'm going to par it, but I'm getting closer now to bogeying it. So you can see the importance, get that ball on the fairway, makes such a difference. So what would happen in our data, it would show that that shot would lose me 0.1 of a shot against where on average I would be. This shot has cost me 0.4 of a shot. Okay, but there's a third one we might get on most holes, what I call a recovery shot. Let's see what that looks like and how much that's going to cost me. So on this particular hole, here's my third result I could probably get. It's what I call recovery position. You can see it doesn't look great. I'm in the trees. I've still hit it the same distance off the tee as the other shot, but now this is going to take me on average from here 4.8 shots. All I can probably do is advance it down the hole, 50 yards down the hole, get it back into play. There's no real gain trying to go down a lot further down the hole. So all of a sudden, as we said, we've got these 3 different shots. 5 was the starting point. We were going to go up to 4.1. So that's 5.1, because remember, you've played a shot from the fairway. We're in the rough. We're now up to 5.4. 4.4 from that position. 4.8 from here now gets us up to 5.8. It's only a 20% chance now I'm going to par this hole. It's an 80% chance. Just because of that tee shot, I'm now going to make a bogey. So the whole idea of these lessons is to show you the importance. Get that ball in the fairway. Even if we were 20 yards shorter than we were, we're still going to be so much better off than trying to hit it big and long and being out of control. So really, really important. What we're going to do, we hit that nice shot off the tee. We've hit a shot down the fairway. Let's go and have a look at what we've got from that position and look at the options then that could happen as we get closer to that green and the other shots that we might look at. So I've arrived back in the fairway after my second shot from the original position. I've got around about 100 yards to go. And for me as a scratch golfer, that's a 3 shot. So I'm back on level terms now for where I should be for my level. 5 off the tee. I've played 2 shots. On average, it's going to take me 3 shots from here. Now, if I'd played the shot from the original position and put the ball in the rough, and I'm not going to sort of video all these different positions, but just give you the data, is that would cost me, again, around about a third of a shot. Okay, it's going to cost me now from here 100 yards or so into the green, it's going to be 3.3. So still pretty good chance I'm going to make my par, but it's slightly reducing the control on the ball. Amazingly now, if I ended up in the trees and I'm blocked out, I now can't get the ball on the green. It's going to cost me now probably a full shot. So we can see how important that second shot is. Get it down the fairway, get it into position. Now, from this position, we could end up in the trees again. We could end up in the rough. But we're looking to see, right, we've now got our 4 shots relative around the green, which is rough, trees, bunkers, putting green. Let's see what happens if I hit the shot down the hole. Let's see where we end up. And we'll go through the 4 positions and what that would cost us if we don't hit that green or if we do hit it. Okay, look, pretty good shot. Go and have a look, but we'll give you those 4 different shots that you could end up, 4 different results, and how much that will cost you, and how the data then will allow us to develop your games. So I've come to the green and really happy in result, and we've ended up approximately 12 to 15 feet from the hole. So we're looking now, this is going to take me on average 1.8 shots to get into the hole. So let's just recap what we've done. So again, this is just breaking it down. You get used to it as you go along, and as I said, when I do the data within the lesson, it makes a lot more sense because you'll get an accumulative data at the end. But remember, the starting point was, it was a par 5. It was a 5 for me as a scratch golfer, 540-yard hole. I've played 3 shots. On average, it's now going to take me 1.8 shots. And I've played a pretty steady hole. I've sort of looked like I lost 0.1 off the tee. I gained 0.1 on the second shot. I've gained 0.2 on the third shot. So now there's an 80% chance I'm going to 2-putt this. So I'm still on average. I'm still going to par this hole from this position. There's a 20% chance I'm going to hole it. So that's what we're looking at. That's what I've given myself the chance to do. okay? And then we'll look at 3 other positions in a minute. If I hadn't hit the green, what would it have done? Actually, we'll add a 4th one in there. What would happen if I'd hit the green but given myself a much longer putt? So we've got around about, as I said, 12, 15 feet. Let's see if we can hole it, see if we can get out here, pick up a complete shot. If we 2-putt it, we've pretty much done what we're meant to do. Oh, I just didn't get it to the hole. Okay, so throughout that hole, as I said, I would have lost 0.1 off the tee. I would have gained 0.1 on my second shot. I would have gained 0.2 on my third shot, and I'd have lost 0.2 against my putt. But because they all average out, I still got my 5. But what would happen is that if we were in the rough, further away from that hole, how much would that cost me? Let's have a look. So we're sticking with putting. It looked like a nice shot, but I've gone 50 foot past the hole. What's it going to cost me? Well, remember, 12, 15 feet away, it was an 80% chance I was still going to 2-putt it. From here now, it's about a 60% chance I'm going to 2-putt it. It's a 40% chance I'm going to 3-putt it from 50 feet, even as a scratch golfer. So that's a really big importance for me. When I see people on the putting green, they're very quick to say I should 2-putt everything, but it's relative to where you are. You can see I've gone from a 20% chance of holing it to pretty much probably not even a 1% chance of holing this, and I've gone from an 80% chance of 2-putting that to only a 60%, but I've increased it to 40% that I could 3-putt it. So it's one of those putts that, yeah, as a scratch golfer, I'm going to be disappointed if I 3-putt it, but if I had 2 of these in a round and I 3-putt one and 2-putt the other, it's about what I should do. Okay, we'll give it a go. Let's see what happens. See if we can get it up close to the hole. And what we'll just quickly go through, I've rolled that up to about 3 feet. And now for me as a scratch golfer, that's pretty much a 90% chance I'm going to hole that putt. Probably a little bit higher than that. So I've gone from a good opportunity there back there that I was going to 3-putt it 40%. I've reduced that now to probably only single-digit percent that I'm going to end up 3-putting it. So you can see the importance, get that first putt as close to the hole as you can. But what if we ended up in the rough? What ended up in a recovery position or a bunker? How much is that going to cost us? So here's one of the shots that I sort of could end up with around the greens, okay? I'm only 20, 30 yards off the green. Amazingly, if I was in the middle of the fairway from that sort of distance, I'm probably going to get down in the hole for about, sounds strange again, 2.7 shots. We're just going to add a complete shot to this. I can't go for the hole. You can see that the tree's in the way. All I can do is chip out to the side. Maybe I might get it onto the back of the green. I might end up where we said about the putt previously, within 50 feet. I might slightly gain a little bit there, but this is going to cost me probably somewhere between at least 3/4 to a whole shot. So again, I know people say to me, well, we all hit bad shots and we end up in these positions, but it's just clarifying how important it is to get that technique where you keep that ball in play. Just by pulling this ball 20 yards left of the green, I've got no shot. So the importance is work on that technique, get that ball onto the green. It's going to cost me at least 3/4 of a shot, if not a whole shot, by ending up in this position. So what would happen if I ended up in a bunker? So here's that bunker shot. We've missed the green, so we've played 2 shots on the par 5. We've now put it in the bunker. We're now here for 3. On average, this is going to take me 3 shots to get down into the hole. Even as a scratch golfer, as a professional golfer, it's going to take me on average to 3 to get down. So all of a sudden, by just missing that green, I've added a shot to my score. So really important, keep that ball moving down the hole, give yourself a chance. So as we're looking at all these different shots, you can see the difference, how it's affecting your shots. Hitting the green, even if you're 50 feet away, there's still a pretty good chance that from that position, I'm going to get down half the time in 2 and half the time in 3. By just going into the bunker, I'm now going to be down in 3. So our final shot is what happens if I just miss the green and I'm in the rough, and how that's going to affect me. So our final shot to look at is what happens if I end up in that rough just off the green. And at my level, it's going to cost me about 0.3 of a shot. So that's the important thing to understand. Every time I'm in this position, and again, from 100 yards, I was meant to be on the green nicely here in a position where I'd look at it and I'd be on the green and I'd be getting down in 2 putts. Because I've missed the green from this position, now I'm here for 3. I'm going to take on average probably around about 3.2 shots. So amazingly, I've lost 1.2 shots just by missing that green. So from 20 yards. Why I'm saying you're going to lose 0.3 of a shot is because that's relative to hitting it off the fairway. So that's the important thing to understand. Now, how does this data, as I said, we compile it. You play 9 holes with me. You'll come out on the golf course, you play 9 holes. I'm making notes as we go round where you're ending up. I'm using Viewfinder to get all this information, where you're playing the shots from. From there, I've got data I go home to and look at every shot you've played, and we'll break it down into these 4 categories. As we said, what do you do off the tee? What do you do with your second shot from outside 100 yards, inside 100, and your putting? And it accumulates over those shots. And then I'll categorize them into 2 areas. How you've done on those 4 particular shots, and then mentally, if the shots have ended up within 0.1, 0.2 of what on average you should do, mentally you've got to stay a lot calmer in your mind. But because you don't know that's what you're meant to do, if you don't hit the perfect shot, golfers get upset. They really do. They get upset. They start to get frustrated because they haven't hit the perfect shot. But I think the great thing to say is, how many perfect shots do you hit in a round of golf? If I probably hit 1 or 2, absolutely, I couldn't play the shots any better. I've had a great day. But the goal is, how close can I get to the average shot? My tee shot is around about 250, 260 on average. I can play scratch golf. You don't need to be booming at 300 yards. You're not a tour player. But every now and again, I do get one out there at 300 yards, so I gain a bit. But if I know I'm at somewhere between 270 and 230, I'm playing around about what will play scratch golf. If I can advance that ball down the fairway on a par 5, approximately anywhere between 180 and 210, I'm playing scratch golf. If from 100 yards I can put the ball on the green 25 feet, I'm playing scratch golf. So straight away, what it does for me is, when I hit that shot that isn't perfect, but it still ends up in my area, my mind stays so much calmer. It takes pressure off me. And that's what the whole idea of these lessons are. So having a data lesson with me will give you so much information to understand what you physically got to do, but just as important, how you're mentally going to get yourself in the right place. And that's the whole idea. And you can look at these videos on my YouTube channel, what I call the 12 shots of golf. They break down the 12 shots ranging from putting all the way through to driving. And for your level of play, it shows you what you've got to do. And I categorize 3 levels: scratch, 9 handicap, 18 handicap. Look at those videos. Just get some data from that. Because what you'll find then is, if it gets your mind in the right place, the pressure comes off, you relax, and guess what? You generally play better shots. So it makes such a difference to your game. But just looking at all these different positions, understanding what it costs you if you're not putting the ball in the right place, to then work on what I need to achieve. And I've got, as I said, data for every level of player. So whether you're a scratch golfer, you want to be as good as a professional golfer, or you're a person just looking to break 100, my data goes up to about a 36 handicap golfer. And this is men and ladies. So that's the whole idea of my lessons. When you come down to here to Corinthians, we'll go out, we'll get this data. If we can do a number of these lessons, what it does then is it creates then some good data that we can build on. Because one round, yeah, you might drive the ball well, and on average, maybe you don't. So if we did 3 or 4, we'd get all that accumulative data. It makes it easier for us to say, actually, that's the area we need to work on the most. That's what's going to make the biggest difference to your score. And that's my job. I want you to enjoy your golf on the golf course and really find that when you go out there, you know what to do and you start performing better on the golf course. I hope you enjoyed that. It covers the data, how having a lesson with me, how it would work. And I'd love to see you come down to Corinthians and spend some time with me. Thank you.